First, thank goodness we have a shadow condo market, right? So I don't know what the number is, 20, 30, 40, 50%, 60% in some buildings, maybe more, of condominiums are bought by investors, right? Sometimes they flip them, when they get possession. Sometimes they keep them and they rent them. And thank goodness they do, because if they hadn't, we would have a massive housing shortage in the city, right? But the problem with the condo rental is that the person moving in has no tenure, okay? So let's take a couple examples. You got a couple of guys graduating university, and they both get jobs in downtown Toronto. So they move to Toronto and they decide to share a condo. Mm-hmm. They rent a 2-bedroom condo for $2,000. They can't afford $2,000 each, but they can afford $1,000 each. So they rent the condo. At the end of the lease, the owner says, golly gosh, this thing was difficult to manage. I'm not really making any money, because if you think about the rent versus what the value of the building is today, or the unit is, the yield's probably zero, right? If it's empty 1 or 2 months, his yield's going to go negative. He says, but I've got a $100,000 gain or $200,000 gain in the condo. I want to sell it. Well, those two guys have to move, right? Now, it's not the end of the world for two young guys who just graduated from college to move. Now think about your parents, right? They want to move out of the house and rent. They're not going to rent a condo. They have no tenure. Who wants to move when your owner tells you to move? So that's one of the big issues with condominiums, is that you really have no tenure. And any, let's say, professional long-term renter, of which I think I'm moving in that category. I could just as soon not have a house, but it's hard to find an apartment good enough to live in. But most of you too would be great renters, and you'd want larger apartments, and you'd pay for all that stuff, but you don't want any of that. But you certainly couldn't live there, sell your home, give away all your furniture, and then go live in a place and then be told to move, right? So that tenure has real value. Maclean's magazine did an article on this, and it was why condos are a living nightmare. I don't know if it's that bad, but when you go into condo rentals, you can see it. You really can. So you go into condo rental on a Saturday night, let's say around Square One, nice enough condo, right? There's a security guard there. He's making $12 an hour, right? He's not stopping anyone if they come in for $12 an hour, right? And there's just no real control in the building. Like, different people own it. There's like significant pet problems, and we can talk about that later if there's time. How do you deal with pets? But there's serious pet problems. I'd like to know that my neighbor has gone through the same credit and criminal check as me. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you just don't know who's living in the building, what the standards are, and and things like that. So these condo buildings, first off, thank goodness they're there, because we would have lots of housing problems with it, but they don't make for purpose-built rental, because when you've got a $100 million building, okay, and a guy's put that much money into it, he's going to manage it physically and by the resident profile and by the way he collects the rents and things like that, like a $100 million asset deserves to be managed. But if that's made up of 250 condos owned by 250 people, there really is not a lot of control, right? And you'll see a lot of wear and tear in those buildings, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much, I think, enough to say on the condo market. But the condo market is there for you to look at as a benchmark for the rental market, right? So if you're building, let's say, on the Yonge Street corridor, so let's say Yonge and Shepherd, that's kind of uptown for those of you not from Toronto. There's, I don't know how many condos there are, 10, 20,000 condos on both sides of the road. You can find lots of rentals in there, but don't assume that rent is going to be what you'll be able to charge, okay? Your rent's going to be higher or lower? Pop quiz. It's going to be higher, because that individual unit rented by one guy, he's not yield driven. He has no sales office, no web page, no marketing. Do you see what I'm saying? He just wants to get it rented to cover his mortgage payment. And if he's empty for 2 months, he'll negotiate with you. But if you're a professional apartment or a $100 million building, you're going to take your time and do your marketing and get it leased up. So typically the rent is probably going to be higher than what the condominiums are going to charge.
Well, that's good news then.
Yes, it's great news. Yeah. But I guess the reason I mention is a lot of developers will come and say, well, the condo in the building that I just built is getting $220 a foot, so that's what I'm going to use as the rent, right? And so when you start off with too low a number, then your deal's not going to pencil out. You're not going to build it, right? If we go back to that example of what $100 means to valuation, it's kind of the difference between make or break on the deal, right?
Very true.